Alright, in this video guys, I'm going to show you how to install a metal junction box or switch box, outlet box, into a plastered wall. And this method will also work for these new boxes that are made out of plastic where you screw them and they open up with these tabs. Alright, first make sure you got the right tool. You need an oscillating tool. I prefer to use one of these. You could just score it with a razor blade and work it out, but this will do a much cleaner job. So mark out, your box. You could take the box and you can make your marking on the wall. Make sure it's plumb, level. Okay, so I got that cut out. And what you do is you cut into the lath. Stop at the lath. Don't go through the lath, okay? I'm right next to a 2x4 that runs right here. I marked where the 2x4 is at. And next step, get a drill. Get a masonry bit first, drill through the plaster till you hit the lath, the wood. It'll stop when you hit it, okay? Drill to the lath with my masonry bit. Take that one off. And then take a little fine drill bit, smaller than your sheetrock screw, and drill through the lath through this hole, okay? Gonna get your smaller drill bit. And this one, you're just gonna get a little smaller than the screw. So here's my sheetrock screw, and you wanna just get just smaller than that, okay? And then you're gonna drill the hole out. And the reason why I drill it is because if I just pop a screw in there, most likely the lath will split and crack. Next, I'm going to use one of these rounding bits just to round off a little bit of the head for the head of the screw in the plaster, okay? Then I'm going to bore out this screw with this, and these are called high-speed steel countersinks, okay? There's different sizes that you can buy. Okay. Then you're going to take a 1-inch screw and put it into the lath. Now the reason why we do this before we even cut this lath is to keep this from separating from the plaster, because this is the keys are what's holding the plaster to the wall. And what I've noticed, if you go and cut this without doing this, these wood laths will shake all over the place and they will actually separate from the plaster, and you don't want that. And what I like to do is put my drill down to, this is a rigid, I like to bring it down to about 7, because if you over torque this, it'll go right through the plaster. I'll use a long screw here. See that keeps me from going through the plaster. I just want to get it flush. And if it's not flush, you could always back it out and put your countersink tool back on and give it a little bit more of a bore out. I didn't quite do that enough, so just do a little bit more. Okay, back down to level 7. Get my screw back in there. Perfect, nice and flush. And you can see now, the reason why we do this steps is because we don't want this lath separating here. Because if it separates, then you have this part that's weak here, this plaster. And that keeps it sound. Okay, after you've done that, we're gonna take a good blade, a wood cutting blade, and we're gonna cut this lath. I haven't done that yet, I'm gonna do that right now. All right, we're through that. And you can see this thing hasn't budged. It's still holding because of these screws. I'll do this other side. Now this side, see I didn't screw this side. You can see how that wood lath is separating right there. But it's okay because there's a stud right here. so it's not going to really matter. There's a stud right here, a 1/2 inch in. So I knew that was going to happen. I didn't support that because it's got the stud. All right, and then I just got to trim the top one. The top one, you can see I'm halfway or 3/4 of the way through the lath, so I'm going to cut the top first and then the sides. All right. Then we'll take our box. It fits right in there. All right. These ones come with little screws here, so you got to notch out where the screw goes to get them all the way in. But that's pretty much it. And then when you're doing your finish work on your plaster, or if you say you're just doing an outlet and you don't got a bunch of finish work, you just take some plaster and you're going to put it in the gap around it to seal it up. Or you can use some caulking. It's the same thing for this, except for this is, instead of using the metal one, you just put these in here. Okay, you put them in. This is a little bit bigger box, so you're gonna have to cut up a little bigger. This slides in, and then you just screw these down. These open up, and they hold on to the plaster. Sometimes these are not made wide enough, and the plaster's too thick with the lath. So that's why I'm not using it. I'm just using these ones. All right, I took my oscillating tool and I dremelled out just the top part here, so it will fit through that screw. The screw will get through there. Okay, and that's how you do it. And then to screw these in, you want to pre-drill here, here, and the bottom two. And I'd use some number 4 1-inch screws, wood screws. And that's what you use to mount these boxes down. Now, of course, if you're using this one, you don't need those. Even though you can see there is some tabs here that you could use. So if you couldn't use these tabs here, you could always put screws here as well. And of course, I got to go run my electrical from here to there, because for some reason they ran it really high. I just didn't like that, so I'm running it down here. .5/64 inch bit for number 4 screw. That's one way to do it, or you could just simply, on these newer types, you could just cut it and then just shove it into this. Here's an extra little clip there. Slides right up under it. I think that's a little bit easier to do. And that doesn't go anywhere. So I think I'm just gonna do that. A lot easier than looping. I really think those are a lot better than looping. It's a lot easier. Saves you a lot of time. All right, even with all that I've done, with all that notching out, it's actually pretty nice because if you're not good with plaster, you want to do plaster, you don't really have to, just because the cover will cover pretty much everything. See that? Other than the screw marks that I made here that would need to be patched. But actually, doing it with the oscillating tool is so much more clean. You can see it's not even covers up everything, so you don't even need to actually patch it. I'm going to do it anyway, and plus patching or putting some mud in between the socket helps to hold it in place, just in case you can't get those screws in. These screws all got into the lath just fine, so it's solid as can be, but I'm just going to put some mud in there, and it keeps the drafts out as well if you get cold air in the wall in the winter. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you do it on a plaster wall. All right, power's on. We'll put our tester in there and see if we got ground. All right, it's correct. This socket is now grounded. I pretty much wired this whole room up so it's grounded the right way. It had the ground wire in the wall, but they cut it short and they didn't even use it because it was not grounded. So now I ran all new wiring and this whole room is grounded, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But yeah, this shows that it's correctly done. So if you got an open neutral, open ground, it'll light up over here. That's done correctly, so we're all good.